Now at 6, deadly wildfires are burning down Hawaii tonight. Several people are dead, dozens of people are injured, buildings are destroyed. Windy conditions coming in from Hurricane Dora are just making matters worse tonight.
Tonight we're learning at least 6 people have died, 24 others have been injured. Wildfires burning across the state, mainly on the Big Island and Maui, forcing a lot of people to evacuate. Some residents even literally jumping into the ocean to escape the flames.
Now here's a look at one of the towns experiencing wildfires. This is drone video from the northeastern part of Maui, and you can see the wildfires are just spread all across the very dry landscape there.
And here's a look in Lahaina in the central eastern part of Maui. In the corner on your screen is the city's library that is burned. You can also see smoke billowing in the air, covering the sky. Maui County officials warning residents the 911 system is down on parts of the island, so they can't get immediate help.
We do have team coverage on this developing story for you tonight. KRON 4's Sarah Stinson is live at SFO with the latest on how the wildfires are affecting flights. KRON 4's Rob Nesbitt is in our newsroom with a reaction from people from the Bay Area who are stuck in Hawaii tonight. And our chief meteorologist, Lawrence Carno, standing by now in the Weather Center with the latest on Hurricane Dora. But we will start with Sarah. And how are things looking there at the airport? People are coming back and they're sharing their stories about what they experienced in Maui.
Well, it's like a vacation that turns into a nightmare for some of these tourists.
We're reflecting on the deadly mass shooting that rocked the small community of Half Moon Bay 1 year ago today. Good evening, everybody. I'm Vicki Liviakis.
I'm Ken Wayne. 7 people were killed, 1 critically injured, all of them farm workers. Authorities say the alleged gunman, 66-year-old Chun-Li Zhao, went to 2 farms in Half Moon Bay. At the first one, police say he shot 4 people and injured 1. Then he drove to another farm and killed another 3 people, according to authorities. Authorities called the back-to-back shootings a case of workplace violence.
The victims' names on your screen there, their ages ranging from 38 to 74 years old. They were all immigrants from China and Mexico who had settled in Half Moon Bay for a better life. And today, Zhao made an appearance in a San Mateo County courtroom. He was scheduled to be arraigned on 7 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder. But at the defense's request, the case will be continued until next month. Now, to speed up the proceedings, the San Mateo County District Attorney's Office sought and received a grand jury indictment against Zhao. The indictment issued yesterday includes the same 8 counts as the original criminal complaint.
We wanted to help move this case along. For 1 year, and we haven't been to preliminary hearing. Well, we said we'll go the other route, which means there will be no preliminary hearing. And we can now go to the next phase, which is hopefully get a trial date within a reasonable time.
Zhao has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He will stay behind bars without bail, and he's scheduled to be back in court on February 29th.
Reaction pouring in tonight, remembering those killed in the shooting. The San Mateo County Sheriff's Department on social media saying, in part, in this collective grief, we find strength. Our community, resilient and united, stands tall against the darkness of that fateful day. May the memories of the departed bring comfort, and may the strength of our community guide us to a future marked by unity, compassion, and peace. Governor Gavin Newsom's office saying, quote, a year since the Half Moon Bay shooting, we solemnly remember the victims and affirm the vision of a California for all, a state without prejudice, where every community is safe from the ravages of gun violence. We'll continue to support our farm worker community.
And gun control advocacy group Gifford saying, quote, a year ago today, 7 people were shot and killed and 1 person was injured in Half Moon Bay, less than 48 hours after a mass shooting in Monterey Park. Communities don't even have time to take a breath between tragedies. Our hearts go out to all those impacted.
The storm's still affecting all corners of the Bay Area. You can see crews here working to repair roads, clear roads, and fallen trees and to fix power lines out there. In the South Bay, a neighborhood in Los Altos still without power and water tonight after a large tree came crashing down.
Our correspondent Dan Kerman has the story.
The storm stops, the sun comes out, and we're fooled to thinking that all the impacts from the storm are over. Not the case here in Los Altos.
So today we grieve. Today we mourn an immense loss for the Senate, for California, for America.
Right now at 6, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer among many U.S. leaders remembering the life and legacy of the late Senator Dianne Feinstein at her memorial today in San Francisco. Good evening, everybody. I'm Vicki Liviakis.
And I'm Grant Lotus. The memorial was at City Hall, the same place where her political career began.
Many of today's speakers remembering Senator Feinstein as a trailblazer, a leader, a hero, a force to be reckoned with, and a friend. KRON 4's Alyssa Gamonian joins us now live from the studio with some highlights from today's events in San Francisco that captured the attention of the nation.
That's right. So many personal stories were shared with the public today, told by everyone from the vice president to Feinstein's own granddaughter.
2 street vendors have been attacked just days apart in San Jose.
Now the city's mayor is speaking out. KRON 4's Alyssa Gamonian joins us now live from the newsroom with more. Ella.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan is standing in solidarity with the 2 food vendors who were attacked on the job. The most recent incident happened just Saturday morning outside of Intex Auto Parts over on Old Bayshore Highway. The victim, Carlos Sanchez, says he was setting up his stand when an employee from the business came out with a bat and started hitting him. The man then got inside Sanchez's car and tried to move it. Police arrested 43-year-old Kintex Ho, who now faces charges. We've reached out to Intex Auto Parts for comment and have not heard back. Meantime, Sanchez says that he will continue to sell food on weekends to support his family. A few days before this, another street vendor was brutally attacked outside the SAP Center. Police say that the victim, Saul Rencoco, and his wife were selling hot dogs after a concert when they said that a suspect wanted a free soda, claiming that he already bought some earlier. Roncoco said no, and that's when they say the suspect threw beer in his face, left, came back, and then attacked him. In a statement to KRON 4, SAP Center management said safety at the SAP Center events continues to be our top priority. We continue to actively communicate with city officials to ensure that public spaces outside of the arena are safe for all guests. We will continue to prioritize this issue until an adequate solution is reached. Meantime, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, as mentioned, issued a statement on the attack, saying in part, there is no place for violence in our community. Our street vendors have the right to make an honest living without fear of intimidation or violence.
The plane that was getting ready to take off, the red airplane on this graphic, is Delta Boeing 737 with 145 passengers. The plane crossing in front of it up here is an American Airlines 777. The Delta plane starts to speed up, get ready to take off, and that's when we hear the control tower telling the pilot not to take off. The FAA says the plane did come to a safe stop about 1,000 feet from where the American Airlines plane had crossed the adjacent taxiway. A passenger aboard the Delta plane recounts the moment it came to a stop.
Everyone's torso sort of was thrust forward.
Delta has apologized to customers for the inconvenience, and there was a big travel delay. The American Airlines airline has not commented as of yet, but obviously a lot of questions about what happened here.
A lot of questions.
Oh, the city saw lightning, hail, heavy rain, and wind today at times. It all came at basically the same time. KRON 4's Teresa Stasio shows us what it was like out there on this kind of surreal weather day.
From a crushed car to a flattened transit bus, the soggy streets of San Francisco proving too much to bear.
Cruise plans to lay off contract workers employed through third-party vendors and staffing agencies. It's not clear how many. Contingent workers will be let go as well, including those who cleaned, charged, and maintained the fleet. According to Forbes, the company's CEO says the layoffs are necessary. Now, this all comes just one day after General Motors announced a recall on all 950 Cruise cars, all in response to an incident last month where a pedestrian was knocked into its path by another vehicle and then dragged by the Cruise car that was trying to pull over. The victim was critically injured as a result. GM says it did the recall so it could update software to make sure incidents like that don't happen again. Now, prior to all of that, the California DMV had already suspended Cruise cars and driverless testing permits altogether, citing an unreasonable risk to public safety and lack of transparency from the company. And now State Senator Dave Cortese is investigating how Cruise was able to get a permit in the first place to operate and test its driverless cars here in California. He plans to introduce that inquiry in January. Now, Cruise has suspended its driverless operations nationwide after dealing with that series of safety issues in San Francisco, like several incidents of cars stalling in the middle of the road or hitting other vehicles. We'll continue to follow up on the issues with Cruise as time goes on.
In San Francisco, the number of cases just keeps growing by the day. The city's Department of Public Health reporting tonight 80 total cases of monkeypox. That's up 12 from yesterday's 68. Those cases are both probable and confirmed through the CDC.
The State Department of Public Health is now reporting 250 cases total in California. That number also includes probable and confirmed cases. The rise in cases causing some long lines like this one outside San Francisco General Hospital's Monkeypox clinic. This was earlier this week. Folks are trying to get access to a vaccine to ward off the disease, but the supply is low.
The city says the hospital's clinic is closed until new supplies arrive. Other clinics will continue working through remaining appointments, but are expected to run out soon, which is likely tomorrow.
Next on KRON 4 News at 9, an unpleasant trend in Pleasanton. People there concerned after the city has now seen more than 30 home break-ins so far this year. The latest on the search for the suspects.
Grilled on Capitol Hill, several CEOs of big tech companies coming under fire in Congress today for how their platforms are hurting kids. The backlash causing one of the CEOs to stand up and apologize. Recent rains now leading to a rise in rodents scurrying into homes in the East Bay. What experts are urging you to do to keep them out.
Bed Bath & Goodbye. The big box store is set to close in several areas nationwide, including one here in the Bay Area. We'll tell you where.
Police officers in Ohio protecting the streets and delivering DoorDash eats. We'll explain after the break.
More than 50 years later, you have 4 astronauts on a crew headed to the moon. How this group will be making its giant leap for mankind.
From Gilroy to Olympic gold, we hear how one Bay Area gymnast is paving her way to Paris.
Texting so last season. Coming up, find out how Gen Z and millennials are now choosing to hit people up.